welcome to the weekly wrap up. Now we are live and getting started in crypto on YouTube and on X today. We're not on Instagram and we're not in LinkedIn because LinkedIn have decided they don't like Bitcoin. So they've stopped all the posts. So welcome. What a big week this is about to be. So it is looking epic. So we've got the FOMC about to happen, and that is happening Tuesday, Wednesday, USA time. And that is going to be the decider as to whether we go up or down. So we've had a taste of war. We've had a taste of markets just tanking. So it's been an interesting couple of weeks. We haven't had a lot of movement. We've had a lot of sideways momentum. And let me get my glasses on, and we are going to jump straight into Bitcoin. So here we go. Basically, I've got this area here highlighted just due to the fact it's a really interesting pattern in the candles. So it's a really interesting candle pattern. So if we go back through the chart, we can see that we've got a very similar pattern here, and we went up right before we had quite a big move. We did have one up and one down, and that's probably where everyone said we were going back down to 20K. Similar pattern here, similar pattern here. All of these went up. All of them went up. So we've got a little bit of indecision. So this basically is two dojis, which just shows that we've got indecision. This last doji shows that we've got easing sell pressure and that the bulls are currently winning. So at the moment, indicators are showing we're kind of like in the middle. They're not showing bullish or bearish. They're just showing neutral. So what we're going to need to see, again, as I always say, more liquidity entering the market. So we want to see that tether print. We want to be watching the whale calls and see if we get $1 billion print, because that's going to determine whether we do get more liquidity entering into the market before we see the FOMC or around that time, and whether the market does go up. So we've got a couple of really strong pivots on this chart. So one at 108,494 and the upper one at 110,700. So if these regions don't get broken, we're definitely going back down. The potential is like 100K. We've tested that one time. And then we've got this channel that we're in and out of, and 93 around there. And this resistance at this point is 113. So 113 moving higher is our next resistance. But when we go onto the BLX, we can see that we're still in this neutral region. As I've said, it can drop down to that 618 without breaking this pattern. That's still a very valid pattern. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that gives us the 5 waves. Now, if this is still a corrective pattern, which it still can be, even though it's broken the high, but only by a little bit. So basically that's called a running flat. So if this is a running flat pattern, this ABC will look something like coming down and doing a double bottom, because that's what it means. It's flat. So that's kind of what we're seeing. So we're just waiting on this region to consolidate, to finish whatever it is doing. A rate cut with the FOMC, that would be lovely, and a tether print. So that would be the trifecta. BTC goes up, tether, and rate cut. And then we're set. We're off and running, and we're back on track. Bitcoin dominance was increasing today, but it's back in this little tiny channel that it's got happening at the moment. So it's not doing huge amounts of things. Normally this pattern would break up and would likely see around the 65, 66 mark, which is that next strong resistance. If we take that up to that resistance up a bit higher, it's looking at about 67. So it's kind of just sitting there. The RSI is showing a very similar pattern, up, down, up, down, up, down, because people are sort of indecisive at the moment, and traders are like, oh, I'll take a buy. Oh, no, I'll take it out. Oh, so it's kind of that sort of feeling at the moment for BTC. When we look at the total crypto market cap, we are at a really important pivot. So 3.31, I've mentioned this before, is a very important directional pivot. Now, if this does not break, it is going down. It's going to see 3.04. So that's our lower target. And that means that alts are going to bleed some more, BTC is going to bleed some more, ETH is going to bleed some more. So we might sort of trend sideways until we get that tether print. Once we get that tether print, we're going to see money flow back into the market. And if we get a rate cut, we're definitely going to see money flow back into the market. So that's, fingers crossed, that's happening this week, because it has been a really, really slow couple of weeks. Now, the DXY has broken lower, which is nice, which has not really helped crypto whatsoever. Normally it does, but it's still got a little bit more to go, probably down to see that 96 or that 94. It's going to be a slow grind. It's going to go up, down, up, down, up, down, as it is. Hopefully not when Bitcoin's just going up. And then ETH BTC is trading in a flag. So this looks more like a bull flag than a bear flag, just due to the fact that the way it's forming, it could potentially have one more like pull back down to about 0.22 if BTC decides it's about to take off. And that's kind of what we're going to be seeing with the ETH chart. So if the ETH BTC chart starts heading up, then ETH itself is going to start heading up as well. So that's kind of what we're seeing. So I'm not going to cover too many alts, but I can see Tom in the getting started in crypto chat would like Teo. So let's jump into that and see. So this one, again, this is one that we're looking at, I think, the last few weeks. And we can see that we've got this buy zone that I've marked on the chart. It's dipped in there twice. Now, if it does if you follow me for quite some time, I always talk about a resistance. And when a resistance gets 4 touches, it gets a rejection. So we can see in this wave pattern here, we've actually got 4, 1, 2, this one doesn't quite touch, 3, 4, and we had quite a strong rejection. Now, if this can't break these 100 and 200 MAs, it's going to sit in this region for a little bit. So that's around 363 to 326. Can dip as low. Let's have a look for this one. It's got 5 waves, so it is looking impulsive. It's not looking like it's still corrected. This is just an internal correction for Teo. So I don't think it's going to break the low. Because we can see 5 complete waves. So if I show you that with my Elliott wave, 5 complete waves, and now we're coming down for that correction. So this is a nice wave pattern. It broke the directional pivot. It's now got 5 waves. Now we want to see whether this is forming a larger pattern ABC. So what that would look like is it would probably come back down to that 0.05 if this is an A, B, and a C, and then it would still have a larger correction to go. So if this is an ABC, we're looking at something like this, and it would hit the next directional pivot, which is at 672. So that's still a nice bounce from this region. And I'm just going to take it up to a daily. And we can see that, this correction has got a complete A, B, C. So it's very likely that unless this is doing an extended correction and it's going into an A, B, C, D, E, which would look like something like this, A, B, C, D, E. So, and it would come back down to that point. So and have one more low. It's getting higher lows, so this is still quite bullish. We don't always get the D and the E. So quite often this wave that I've marked as an ABC may not be an ABC. So if we break this directional pivot, then this is likely going into a third wave. And this will look something like this going up. It may break above and come and retest this region. I haven't done fibs, so don't look at the numbers, but this is just kind of how Elliott wave works when we're sort of looking at the different wave patterns that it can be. So there's all different breakpoints that we kind of look at along the way when we're going, okay, is it bullish? Is it bearish? Which way are we going? And TAO has got 5 waves, so it's got those 2 patterns. Both of them are fairly bullish, one bullish short term, one bullish longer term, one bullish and bearish, I should say. So it's got this A, B, C, which is still a bullish pattern for now. But at this directional pivot at 672, that's where we get the indication if this is going right up. And we've hit sort of bull market stages. So like serious, like third wave bull market stages. And if we're looking at BTC and we're going that way as well, as soon as this correction is over for BTC, it is very likely that BTC is heading up as well in that third wave pattern. So this is our, if we ignore all of the jumble here from years ago, if we go from the bottom of the FTX dip, and we break this down. I haven't got fibs, so don't look at this. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's potentially our 5 waves. We're coming back. We've got a second wave correction. So basically that goes 1, 2, and then we're off on the third wave and running. So and then a 5th wave to come. And that's where we're going to get the big money. So if this is going into a third wave, we're seeing that across the board. So we've got a couple of directional pivots on both alts on BTC. And once those directional pivots start to break down, we're going to get more indication that we're going into the major part of the bull run. And the third wave is normally the longest and the strongest and moves the fastest. So if you're not stacking now and you're not starting to dollar cost average back into these trades, you may just be buying higher, because once this starts going, you're going to be playing catch up. And that's pretty much how it works. When we get into those third waves, they just sort of really take off. So we can see that in this third wave, we had quite a really huge move. And, you know, that moved 200%, which is huge for Bitcoin. And, you know, potentially that's what we're going to see in this range as well. So we've got some upper targets that I've already put on there. So, you know, they go up into the 300s, depending on how far and how fast this third wave will go. So the last 6 months of this year is looking like it's going to be massive, really massive. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. So we're just waiting for that trifecta, BTC to break those pivots. We're waiting for a tether print, and we're waiting for a rate cut. So, and if we get all of that this week, it's going to be game on, like literally game on. So if you're not even in a little bit, like if you haven't taken a bite out of the market at the moment, I would suggest you do so with a stop loss. So just in case it completely goes against us, or, you know, start adding to your long-term bags, because I really think this is going to be an epic 6 months. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. So I think Trump is definitely pushing for all of that. So hang on, let me see if I can read these. But yeah, so Tom, thank you. That was a perfect chart to show that, you know, where those directional pivots, the different patterns that we're seeing, and it's looking really good. So yeah, it's a short and sweet one, about 15 minutes today, but I'm sure once this market starts moving and really, really like moving, we're going to have a lot more alts, and we'll be able to look through and see where those patterns are. But if you are, you know, willing to take a gamble, I think now is the time. I am definitely starting to ladder back into a lot of trades, long-term trades. So my shorter term trades, I'm just sort of taking bites and moving my stop loss up as they go, but it's looking really good. So yeah, so thank you guys for all joining me, and I will catch you on X, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, LinkedIn, and of course, getting started in crypto. So thanks for watching. Catch you next week.